In today's society, there's a lot of people like Korah. In today's church, there's a lot of people, preachers, elders, whatever, like Korah. Um, the reason I say Korah, if you go and read Numbers 16 and you go look at it, you read it in context, you get a, deep under, you probably got to go a few pages back, but, or a few chapters back. But Korah was a man who had pride, rebellion. That's why it's called Korah's rebellion. Um, envy. He wasn't satisfied with his role as a Levite. So that's why I say in today's world and also in the church, there's a lot of people who are satisfied with their life. They have pride. They have envy. They're just like Korah. I forgot to say this. So we know Moses pleaded before God to, it may have been to take away the plagues or it was to stop the plagues. I'm not sure, but go read. So Korah got tired of all of this happening, right? They've been in the wilderness some years now, which, if y'all read, it should have only took them 11 days to get to the promised land, which is Israel. So yeah, Korah took it upon himself, getting thoughts by the devil, pride, that's how Satan or Lucifer, fell down from heaven to this earth from pride. And, even that, and that's in itself shows that God is sovereign. It shows that God is graceful and merciful. It shows that God's plan works no matter how it may seem if you just trust in him, right? Because God knew Satan was going to backslide, basically, was going to betray him. He still created him. He still gave him the gift of music. Still made him the most beautiful angel. That's showing you God's grace. That's showing you God's love. That's showing you God's mercy. And that's just showing you that God is all powerful. And, what he says is what he's going to do. And, everything works together for his will. Everything works together for his will. Because what the devil thought was, to do his will was ultimately just to complete and push forward the will of God. But yeah, so Korah took it upon himself to get 250 men plus himself, so 251. And he decided to say that, hey, Moses, we're no longer submitting to you. And ultimately, it's not that he's not submitting to Moses. He's not submitting to God because God appointed Moses to lead the people as a prophet. God didn't appoint Korah to lead the Israelites. If he would have done that, he would have done that years before, leading them out of Egypt. But he didn't do that. He did it to Moses. He said, Moses, you're the one. When he spoke to him in that burning bush, he said, Moses, you're the one. Right? So, yeah. Korah pointed the finger at Moses, said, we're tired of you. We're not submitting to you. Ultimately, once again, not submitting to God. So they tried their hardest, and ultimately Korah and his family ended up getting swallowed up by the earth. And that's symbolizing, if you read the word, symbolizing that, Korah and his family all went to hell. Because, it said Jesus, the only sign I will give this generation is when I'm in 3 days inside the earth. Like, like how Jonah was in the whale 3 days. Say just like Jonah, that's the sign y'all gonna get when I go 3 days into the earth. Which is saying that hell is inside the earth. It's it's inside under the earth, however you want to say it. And what I mean by a lot of people is like Korah, they're rebellious against God. They go against his will, which his will is for you to, your purpose in life is to worship God by the way you live and everything you do. You know, was it 1 Corinthians 10 verse 21? I'm not sure, but I know for sure it said no matter whether you eat or drink, do it all for the glory of God. So these people are just like Korah. They're rebellious. They don't want to submit to God. They don't want to go to church and submit to a pastor. They gossip. They create divisions among the people. They cause other people to fall into sin with them. They are ultimately just being deceived or controlled by the enemy, the devil. You look in today's church, you see a lot of people who are prideful, envious. You know, they want so-called, which is there is no such thing as we getting the glory, but they say they want the glory. They want to be on the pulpit preaching. They don't want to get taught. Nobody can teach me. Only God can teach me, which is true. But God can use and will use someone to teach you. The church is necessary. If you're not going to church, I will honestly say, before you even get ready to go to church, have that personal experience with God, with Jesus. Have that, no, it's not rebuking, but have that personal experience with Jesus. You can feel the presence of God. And you will know when you feel the presence of God, because it's overwhelming, a warm sensation, loving. You feel like somebody's hugging you. You can't do nothing but break down and cry. Whether you drop a few tears or once again you break down and cry, but you will know when you feel the presence of God. So I would say you have that personal experience with Jesus. And once you have that personal experience with Jesus, you get in the Word. And reading a verse a day ain't going to do nothing for you. I'm sorry to tell you, brother, sis, but reading that verse a day ain't going to do nothing for you. Because God knows you can put forth an effort. You know, as in His Word, it says, draw near to God and He will draw near to you. So if you're and you don't have the expectation of coming to God to get set free of anything, you come to God just to serve Him. You don't come to God to get blessings. You don't come to Jesus to get blessings. You don't come to Jesus for Him to do something for you, expecting Him to do something for you. That's pride. You come to Jesus because of what He's done for you, not what He can do for you. What He's done for you, not what He can do for you. If that makes sense. Meaning, you don't come to God for no money. You don't come to Jesus for no money. You don't come to Jesus to have a perfect life. There is no such thing as perfect life. You don't come to Jesus to get married. You don't come to Jesus to do these things. You come to Jesus to serve Him for what He's done for you and for dying for you. That's the ultimate sacrifice. That's the ultimate definition of love. It wasn't what it said. It wasn't the nails that held Him to the cross. It was love. And you read that in John 10, 17, 18 or something like that. Jesus said, hey, I lay my life down. I have the authority to pick it up and lay it down because the Father has commanded me to do so. Who talking in authority like that? Hey, man. But yeah, a lot of these people, rebellious, envious, jealous, and God said in Jude 1, He said the people that act like Korah will get the same thing he got, which is eternal doom. And we know God doesn't lie. So if you're one of those people who are rebellious, you won't submit to God, or you won't submit to a church, your pastor, you go into church trying to cause division and slander, you gossiping, you want to do something in the church rather than just sit there and listen to the Word of God, and you always trying to involve yourself in something, whether you're trying to do something because you're not letting God allow you to be moved into that position, rather you're trying to force it. So And then these people they're just prideful. Like they just want the money to themselves.